Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. Again, this week on Carl Munson's Good Morning Portugal Show, he and I talk about Portuguese pride and passion, the challenges of producing a video channel, like this one for instance, and a little behind the scenes for episode 5, My First Day in Portugal, which is by far the most watched episode I've produced so far. We also address the question of what I love about America and remembering to take a close look at that or wherever you are before choosing to move to a new country. So as always, I invite you to please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Talking of the community, the anchor man of Monday mornings is ready to join us. He's not been called that before. It's caused him to chuckle there in Ericeira. It's an old guy in Europe. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. Actually, no, that's not what we do. We play his music, of course. I think he brought him on without playing his music. My goodness, that would have been a little awkward. Here it is. We'll talk to him after this. Now the applause.
Bon dia!
2 days out the sun and I forget what I'm doing.
You have a right. You had a birthday, so all is forgiven.
Yes, it was.
But no more mistakes till next year.
All right, okay. I've had my allowance. Tudo bem, amigo?
Muito bem, obrigado.
Cool. Did you do anything? I'm not going to ask you if you had a great weekend, but did you do anything that you can remember of the last couple of days that was outstanding? How was the Portuguese defeat handled in your household and neighborhood?
Well, I watched it with Sidonio, and he's fun. He's a quiet, intense fan. So he just sits quietly, and something happens, and he goes, you know, or yeah, and then they'll get a goal, and it's a silent. Like, you don't need to be quiet on my account, you know, because I'm going, I'm going, hooah!
Yes,
that's me. So when they were finally beat, you kind of know it's coming after that first penalty is missed. It's like, okay, it's not looking good. And so when it actually happened, there's just this energy drop, and it more with him than me, but I felt it too. It's the only football I watch is, Portuguese national football. So when they lose, then it's like, oh, my country lost. So anyway, it was fun, and I've enjoyed being included. I let Sidonio know that I was always up for a Portugal match, or if the U.S. was playing in an international competition, I'd like to see them too. But so he makes sure I know, and more and more I'm knowing when the games are anyway. So it's fun. It's fun to be able to share a sport competition with somebody.
I wonder, will we ever get to meet Luisa and Sidonio, do you think? Or will you feature them on your YouTube channel?
Well, yeah, they're actually getting and this is right along in line with what I did this weekend. I worked all weekend on this week's video.
Okay.
I'm learning a lot about how not to use a lot of talking and no video. A lot of talking and no video should be a podcast, not a vlog, because you just have to come up with all these visuals to go with all this talk. It's like, talk less, James, talk less. It's like, I've got 30 seconds, 5 seconds, 15 seconds of time to fill, but like, what am I going to use for visuals? So just hours and hours of time. I never realized how much time went into editing just even 15 minutes of video. It's
If you
so,
do it well, I mean, I imagine there's an industry standard formula. You know, for every hour you're filming
a
8 hours.
minute of produced video for me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I love live. I really do, because it's done and dusted. For better or for worse, it's done and dusted, and you can pick things out of it. But doing it, video editing properly, I don't have the right temperament for that, and you have to be very, very thoughtful, researched, planned, and have this overview and lots of patience.
Yeah, and truthfully, just lots of visual stuff. And if it's photos, you have to have probably 5 times as many photos as you need video, because
Yeah.
you can't fill 15 seconds of time with one photo. Just like,
Not even with a really long zoom.
yeah, exactly. So, and the learning process. But I realized that my first 8-minute video took me 16 hours. So it was 2 hours per minute.
That probably is a new record of the ratio of input to output.
But it was all brand new. I'd never done it before. Now, it's like I was learning the technology. I was, trying to figure it all out in addition to putting it all together. And it was another one of these voiceover visuals, and that's time consuming.
Yes.
So I'm learning more and more on the go, and every once in a while the software decides it wants to change how it behaves. So it's like, what's going on? And I have to figure it out. So I'll just quit out and then open again, and it just cooperates. It's stop it, you idiot.
You're a member over at GMP VIP. Did you ever look at Andy Klein's Better Smartphone Video course?
No, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy trying to produce.
But it's amazing that we've got all this technology available to us that we can make all these films now.
Yeah, and I mean, some people just, they don't care, and they just get on. They don't even bother to get dressed. They just get in front of the camera and start talking, and then that's their video.
Well, that's me. Yeah, I mean, I do put a shirt on.
But that's not the production value I'm going for. If I want to put something out, I want it to at least be entertaining and look. I don't expect to be, professional quality, but at least something that looks like I knew a little bit about what I was doing. So
that's coming across. Yeah,
yeah.
I love how your films, your movies start. And I'm an old guy in Portugal. And cue the music. That works.
Yeah, so it's been fun, and I never imagined I've got to change things up, because I do not want to be a full-time video producer. That's not my goal. My goal is to be retired and travel and have a lot of fun and throw up videos once a week, and that's where this show comes in. I've got a lot of clips of my spot on Mondays on this show, which are all video, and it's already talking, so it's just a matter of plugging it in. I just didn't want to set it up, the first several, as being, this is all it's going to be. Yeah. Like, oh, it's going to be James talking on Good Morning Portugal. That's what an old guy in Europe is. I don't want people getting the sense that that's what it is. So I need to change it up a bit from time to time.
Yes.
So they can see, oh, so this coming Friday is going to be my first day in Portugal. That's what I featured. And that's a lot of talking, a lot of visuals, a lot of stock photos, because I didn't take pictures when I was arriving. Okay, let's get some stock photos of the airport, that kind of thing. But I think it'll come across nicely, and it's a lot. I think so far I've got 15 or 16 minutes, so it's another 15 or 16 hours I put in. But I've increased my speed. I'm twice as efficient.
That learning curve is going to flatten a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah. So
okay, well, glad to hear it. Episode 4 has been published over on An Old Guy in Europe. You can check that out. Not now. We're doing our show live together now.
That's right. You can watch this spot on An Old Guy in Europe sometime in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll be even older then by the time you watch it. Between now and then, James. Oh, before we move on from video, greetings from a wonderful Algarve. Yes, making video is simply hard work. Foto magico makes life a lot easier. But like all good things, you have to pay. Look at that. A little bit of mindful wisdom there from a Yorkshireman. All the best things in life, lads, you got to pay. Some way, or if not with money, then maybe with your attention. and your mindful appreciation. I guess that's a true as well, isn't it? If not money, we got to pay some way in the trade of life as we have it.
Time and energy on this one.
Time and energy, right? Okay. And on this auspicious day in history, remember this? We used to have this as a feature with the prof, didn't we? 1497, although it was my birthday yesterday, I wasn't around that long ago. Vasco da Gama departed from Lisbon with a 4-ship fleet on his way to discover the sea route to India. He reached India on May the 20th in 1498.
I have to say, 1492 is when Columbus arrived in India, but it was actually the coast of the West Indies, actually. He thought he had gone all across the ocean to India. That's why the natives of our country are called Indians. He thought he was in India or near India. He was a long way off. He had no idea where he was.
Meanwhile, in Europe, 5 years later, we did it properly.
Yes, you went around Africa and went that way.
That's right. And now, these days, in 2024, we only have to go to the end of the quay to visit an Indian restaurant. Vasco da Gama had to sail all that way with 4 ships.
That's right. Just to get some of those seasonings.
Yes, I'm going to tell the children how lucky they are when I finish this morning. But yes, how things have changed. So thank you. The
spice of life.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And morning, Frank. Mr. Nibley is here with belated birthday.
Bon dia, Frank.
Appreciate it. Squire, Owen, also in, Paul, of course, and Milene with those lovely words. And thank you. Feliz Aniversario, Carl. Wishing you a day. I'll take it. I'll have another day of it today. Thank you very much. And
yes, another day full of happiness. Maybe every day. We could do that.
Well, you know, this is, I wondered if you had any advice for the football fans. Why do people put themselves through that, James?
It's the relationship between the up and the down. And that's where the thrill exists, is in the shift and in the change. Sometimes it's like, but then, woo, we got that shot that one time, which is why people stay fans for decades, because they won a world championship once. You know, we can do that again. It's the same thing.
1966 for England.
Yes, or gambling. No. People gamble with a 99% chance of losing every time, but there is that one time we might win something, and that's what keeps them coming back. It's another form of addiction in a way. I mean, if it doesn't rule your life and interfere with being able to live day to day, then it's not really an addiction, but it has that same quality of enticement and satisfaction when it works, and being really down when it's not working. So
yes, well, I it was a moment when I thought, why do people put themselves through this? And I'm not that much of a fan, I have to say. I'm pretty fair weather, and I like a big tournament, but I don't go through that agony every weekend. I never have done. And I was thinking, that this is a really weird way for humans to apply themselves and their energy and their passion. But I get what you mean. It's from the extremes comes the relief, I suppose. It's relief as much as anything else. I mean, there is a section.
There's joy. We access a level of happiness that we don't get just sort of walking around in our life generally. It's a peak experience when your team wins. So I think that's what people are looking for, that peak experience.
Yes. Well, I think, from a personal point of view, I think I would rather go for a flatter line of equanimity and joy than seeking out those moments.
That's more my style.
Yeah, it really occurred to me over the weekend, just watching that and going through it, and being this guy. I mean,
that you were asking, how do you get over a loss? Right there, it's the I mean that literally, but the fans. Fans, I mean, this is the country I live in. These people show up and they cheer right to the last minute, and they celebrate and they yell, and I mean, how many hundreds of people or thousands of Portuguese were in Germany watching the game live with their colors and their flags and all of that. And then you see cities throughout the entire country with hundreds of people sitting in front of televisions in a park or whatever it is, watching the game. Yes. Even when their team loses, there's this tremendous bonding in the experience. And our guys didn't do it, but man, do we love our team? Do we love our country? And there's a feeling in there that I think that is what helps to soften the blow of the loss.
Got to be right.
It's the community and the spirit and the feeling of belonging in that comes even in the loss, the sadness of the loss. We share the sadness. So that's how you get over it.
Well, yeah, and I don't know a lot about that, because that was another thing. I was looking at kids, on one level, taking your child to Germany to see the team get beaten is like a level of, I don't know, cruelty almost, isn't it? But it is a savage blow to the national pride and personal happiness that is, like you say, is shared, isn't it, across a culture and a community, which I guess there is something wonderful about that, going through the ups and downs together in a community, which is not a very passionate football fan, I wouldn't know a lot about, and I would just have to accept that is what's possible for people.
Yeah. Well, I have to share with you, I saw a short video, probably on Facebook, two women who were talking about football versus soccer, the American woman and a British woman. And the British woman was citing the history of the word soccer. And the bottom line is that soccer was a British term that was introduced to the folks over in the States. It was an abbreviation of some popular term.
Association.
Yeah, the soccer and the whatever, and then so it just kind of got sort of commonly, casually referred to as soccer.
Yep.
And then so the Americans said, "Oh, okay, soccer. Well, we've got football over here, so that helped. That's great. We got football and soccer." And then the Brits just stopped using soccer and they went to football. It's like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute. We get so much grief for calling it soccer, but from the Brits, it's properly, it's football. It's not soccer. It's like, but you're the ones who said it.
That doesn't matter. That does not matter.
It's like, gotcha.
Yeah, but football fans always got something to moan about, and that'll be one of them. What a weekend! Onward though, England. Who knows? Might be facing Spain or France in the final. That will be incredible. We've got Stephen joining us in just a moment, James. I'm aware that I've robbed you of any space here to speak of other things other than the agony of football.
No robbing. Shared conversation. I don't know how much time it would take, but I think it was a couple of weeks ago, recently on Good Morning Portugal. No, it was your question, the article you wrote on, or the question you asked. I don't remember exactly how it was framed, but it was about what do you love about America?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I spent time with that. I mean, as I do, it's like, okay, well, there's a lot of reasons that I don't want to say don't love America. I'm not. It's kind of like you love somebody, but there's a lot of characteristics about them that you just really don't like very much. That feel like a brother or sister or something where you just love them, but man, they're a pain in the ass. That kind of a thing. Yes. And so I've been so happy being here because of the culture and the place and the experience of it just resonates with me in a way that I had never experienced in my life before. That it was easy to not think about what I appreciate or what I love about the United States. And so thank you for that. Giving me, kind of creating the space for me to give some thought to it. And there were aspects of it that the after effect was a certain sadness, because there were things that I loved about it that had more or less gone away. There were things that I hadn't realized had gone away. I just assumed were still there, but looking at it from a distance, like, oh, it's not like that anymore. The things that really pulled me. But there were qualities that I addressed, I answered in the comments about that. I don't even remember specifically what they were, but it was the experience of it. And if anyone hasn't done that, especially those who were, I don't want to say the only reason you came is because you were dissatisfied, but something moved us to change, to leave the place where we were. Something said, maybe there's something better for me over there, which implies that there are things that are not as good for you where you are. So in that, I think it's worth looking at. It might be worth trying to explore even for those who are considering the move, especially during really emotional times like election years, and especially what's going on in a few of the countries, in my case, in the United States. I'm seeing talk and people saying, well, if Trump gets elected, we're leaving. It's like, where are you going? I don't know. We just got to get out of here. Like, there's that energy of it. And, that was a piece of it for me after the re-election campaign after his first term, but it wasn't the only reason. So worth looking at. It's a great question to look at, because when you're looking to leave, you're not looking at what you appreciate, and you might miss what you appreciate when you leave it. So
true. It's no good just beating up on your old place, because there are great things about it as well. And it's good to have that balance. So I was just asking this question that you were talking about. What do you love about the culture? What do you cherish within the idea of the American dream? That has been a very powerful motif for people, not just Americans. It's a worldwide export, that, isn't it? And what are you proud of that your culture has given you and to the world? And there are things, and we know that can be polarized and political and quite difficult and dark at times. There's no question about that. I'm not trying to sort of sanitize anything, but there are things that get missed when everyone's just piling in and being critical. So there you go. We're holding Steve up. We can come back to this, though. Steve might even have a comment on that. He's talking about relocation as well as an investment now. So let's give him a nice big round of applause. And thanks, James, for mentioning that.